Welcome to the LGBTQ Real Estate Podcast, connecting LGBTQ homeowners and sellers and buyers since 2007. My name is Jeff Berger. I'm the host of the show. We haven't done one of these in a while, so I'm really excited about this today. So our show is usually business to consumer. So usually it's real estate agents on our show, LGBTQ real estate pros, that is, just like it sounds. Today we have a B2C show. We have a very special guest, Tami Simms, and she's an expert in luxury. And she helps realtors get trained in luxury and help build business in luxury. If they're in luxury already, she helps them better their business. She represents the Institute for Luxury Home Marketing. And her contact information is below in this YouTube show, so you can reach her if you find anything really interesting that she says. I'm sure you will. Tami, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, and I'm here in Jupiter, Florida. Where are you?
I am in St. Petersburg, Florida, and
Whoa.
proud to be there.
Wow, so I'm on the East Coast, you're on the West Coast.
That's right, but both Florida.
You have better sunsets.
We do.
Yeah, the sunsets on the West Coast of Florida are amazing.
But you have waves.
We do.
Yeah.
It all balances out.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, so let's get started. Tell us and the audience a little bit about yourself and the Institute.
Sure. Thank you. So I'm the Institute's lead trainer, and this is actually my 20th year with the Institute. So
Wow.
it is amazing how time flies. I also co-host the Estate of Mind podcast. So for all of the audience who are podcast junkies, there's another opportunity in addition to this one. But I'm also a full-time real estate professional in St. Petersburg, as you said. And I am pleased to say St. Petersburg is an incredibly inclusive community where the pride flag is hoisted over City Hall every June. And we live and breathe that inclusion. So it's feet on the ground. And I think that's one of the things that's unique about the Institute is that all of our trainers are full-time real estate professionals. So rather than just being professional educators, we are living and breathing what we share with our attendees. And the Institute itself was formed in 2003. And it was in response to the demand for luxury training for real estate professionals, but it created the benchmark standard in the industry across brands, so that members who earn the designation, all of our Institute members, they carry that with them individually, regardless of whether they make a shift in brokerages. And that was kind of a cutting edge at the time. And so we do have fantastic relationships with a number of the major brands, but we're brand agnostic. And so there's definitely something for everyone.
That's great. That's great. And I really like what you said about, like, you're not just educators, you're also realtors. So you know what's working.
That's right.
That's super important. And that's firsthand knowledge. It's not hearsay, like you taught a class and you found out that this is going on in the market. You're actually using the stuff that you teach.
Absolutely. There are some things, parts of the course where I'll say, oh my gosh, this just happened to me this morning. I had a call from someone, or this is happening right now in a transaction that I'm dealing with.
That's awesome. Yeah, those are great examples, right? Very simple, but important ones. And, luxury means so many things to so many different people, right? Like someone may have a luxury watch, they may have, a luxury car. Tell us in real estate, like, what exactly does luxury mean?
Sure. I'm super glad that you asked, because luxury is really market specific to start with. You can't just put, let's say, $1 million as a benchmark, which a lot of the major media tend to do. It really is market specific, and truly it's a level of service more so than a particular price point. So with that said, in order to earn the Certified Luxury Home Marketing Specialist, or CLHMS designation that the Institute offers, there has to be a benchmark. And so for the Institute, that is roughly the 90th percentile, or top 10% of the market of the county where the property is located. So it's going to be very, very specific. Here in St. Petersburg, for example, that figure is $670,000, right? So under $1 million. But a few hours south in Naples, also on the East Coast, that qualifying number is 1.65 million. So really, really hyper local. And again, I can't reinforce enough that it's that level of service and the concierge mindset that is far more important than what the dollar amount is.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point because every market will have a different definition of luxury sometimes. Maybe waterfront, maybe townhomes, that are right along the waterfront. I know they're building a lot of that here in Jupiter, where I live, in Juno Beach. Okay, yeah, that's really interesting. Thanks for sharing that. And I know, like, for example, there's so much information that you guys cover. Give us an example, for example, what kind of things does the Institute cover, the training that is, and what do the attendees learn?
Sure. So it definitely is a challenge to put that in a nutshell because it's 2 solid days of fire hose material. But I think perhaps the biggest undercurrent is how to adopt a luxury mindset. So we firmly believe that you don't have to live the same lifestyle as your wealthy buyers and sellers in order to be successful in the upper tier. Instead, it's about your competence and your confidence. And we also firmly believe that the more that you build your competencies, the more that the confidence will come naturally. So we spend an awful lot of time talking about strategies for building that competence, things to expand your knowledge of, communication styles, working with different personality types. In the upper tier, you might have not just your end buyer and seller, but they may engage their financial advisor, their agent, their attorney along the way. And so you're managing a lot of different personalities. And then also, as we're approaching the marketing of higher end homes, it's more about lifestyle matching. So moving away from kind of brick and mortar and a traditional way that we approach marketing properties, it has to be more sophisticated, and it really has to tell a story. And then there are lots of different avenues that you can approach the marketing that may be different than our typical, put it in the MLS, make a flyer, and wait for the showings. So we address a lot of those avenues that maybe are just a little more nuanced in terms of serving the luxury market. But I want to give you a tip, right? So don't tell anybody, but the things that you learn in the training course can be applied to anybody's business, right? It's just about improving your level of service. It's about just stepping up your game to provide better service no matter what. So I'm glad that you're going to keep that between us.
Yeah. Well, it's a great tip, and it is between us. Because in any market, whether you're going for $100,000 condo and, wherever it may be, which was probably years ago, that doesn't exist as much anymore.
I was going to say, I don't really have any of those.
Yeah. It's just looking back, through the careers, I'm doing this since 2004. So yeah, it's come a long way. And especially now, there's such a distinct luxury market. Years ago, it was more of a wider swath, but now luxury is just I think it's really because the luxury agents who market it so well, whether it's the video they use or the processes that they use, it's nice. It's great marketing.
Yeah, and we say that the quality of your property marketing needs to be commensurate with the quality of the actual property. And so again, it's that stepping up your game to match that level of quality.
That's awesome. And what's really important, I think, is before I forget, what is the name of the podcast that you mentioned at the very beginning of the show that you do?
Estate of Mind.
Estate of Mind.
Correct.
Okay, I'll include that as well. And that's on YouTube and what
it's on all of the podcast channels.
Okay, got it. So I'll put it in the YouTube information. Great. Estate of Mind. Okay, so is working with wealthy people really that different? You tell me, what do you think?
That's a great question, because a lot of people are really worried that it is so different that they can't approach it.
Hmm.
There's an awful lot of misperceptions about the wealthy that often get into people's way of their desire to break into the upper tier. So,
Hmm.
in fact, though, the majority of wealthy individuals, particularly in the United States, are self-made, right? Not inherited wealth. And so they're typically successful business people, entrepreneurs, and folks like that who have worked hard to build wealth. And
Hmm.
so we have to adapt our communication styles to that. But that also makes me think about drawing a distinction between wealth and high income, because
Hmm.
there's this whole group of individuals that there's a lot of attention being paid to them, that they're being referred to as Henrys, high earners, not rich yet. So
Hmm.
let that sink in for a second. So these are folks that are really high earners, but they're spending as quickly as they're making it. And so they're not necessarily building wealth. So you really have to understand the difference between the mindset of individuals who are, conservative and all about building long-term relationships, focused on trust and prudent decision making, that also transcends that line
Hmm.
in those folks that have the means to, when it's the appropriate time and the right opportunity, to spend on a luxury real estate purchase, right? But
Yes.
but we really have to pay attention to different communication styles, as I mentioned, and understand their wants and needs, and really be focused on providing that level of service that meets them where they are and where their personalities are.
Yes. And I imagine the training that you do, just, a little off topic, but it's much to the topic. A lot of people, they probably think, oh, this guy just drove up in, a brand new, you know, I don't know, Range Rover, and,
Yeah,
he's eating at the finest restaurant in town. He dresses real well, but that doesn't mean that much these days, because
that's
if you
right.
make even someone making 300,000, 400,000, maybe one of these Henrys, and that's not, a lot in the luxury market, but I'm just saying, in today's average income, whatever, growing to that, um, today's home prices and, cost of living, it's really not that much.
Yep.
They're probably not even applicable for a wealthy, a luxury home purchase in reality. So I guess some of the training is really finding the nuances, how to really ask the right questions, to figure out if this person is smoke and mirrors or all puff, and
Yep.
smoke,
We have
when they
some.
really
We have
have,
some.
the $4 million to, purchase this home with.
We have some great techniques that we talk about in terms of qualifying, in being able to research individuals that you're working with, both from making sure that they are who they say they are, and also in identifying better ways to communicate with them. So one thing that I do want to mention is that Institute members, once you complete the training, it's not just a certificate that you put on the wall.
Hmm.
You are part of an organization that provides ongoing tools and resources. As a matter of fact, they recently did a little math on the number of tools available to members at no additional cost,
Hmm.
and it was more than $7,000 worth of tools and resources. So
That's
that's
great.
an important thing to understand, I think.
Well, the Institute's been around for so long, the quality that you put out, the value that you provide, I can see that. And I know that brings us to our next, in closing point to this. The Institute's soon doing a webinar with NAGREP, the National Association of Gay and Lesbian Real Estate Professionals, an organization that I founded in 2007. And we're really excited about that. Tell us a little bit about it, because we're starting to do some marketing. We're going to send this video to our membership, through our newsletter, through our social medias and things of that sort. We're looking forward. Tell us
Well,
about the date, the
I
time.
Yep,
Mhm.
I am tremendously excited about joining you for this lunch and learn kind of webinar. It's
Hmm.
going to be Tuesday on March 31st at 2 o'clock Eastern, And the topic of our program is luxury as a concierge level of service. And I really think that that gets right to the heart of my earlier comments about luxury being a level of service rather than a specific price point. And so we're really excited about sharing that that particular topic and really just kind of engaging folks to want to learn a little bit more and to really break into that luxury market or strengthen their market share if they're already in that spot.
Well, this sounds great. You know, for anyone that's watching this, we were doing work with the Institute back in 2019-ish when we were doing our large conferences, which we kind of pulled back on, and now we're doing the LGBT real estate retreat, which is a different type of event. But we're really excited to be back with you all, is my point. And we're looking forward to the webinar. We're going to share some things in the future, in addition with all of our members. And this has been great. Tami, thanks so much for joining us today on the LGBTQ Real Estate Podcast. And we look to see you. We look to see you in the future. And hopefully we'll cross paths in person one day.
You bet. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Yeah, an absolute pleasure. Okay, we'll see you on YouTube. Okay, bye.